What's up, everybody? It's Aaron and Ray back again with another episode of Franchise Tag Fantasy Football Podcast. We're continuing with the divisional breakdowns, and we are going to do the NFC East. I cannot wait to see who chirps in the comments about their team, because we all know who has the most annoying fan base in football outside of New England.
The football team.
Sure, if that's what you want to say. But anyways, how you doing, Ray?
Great.
Great, huh? You're doing great. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Aaron, let me ask you a quick question. This is an important one.
Can't wait for this one. Let me sit up here for this one.
You're at a barbecue, eating something good. Let's say a burger. What kind of chip are you reaching for? What chip is the best chip?
Strictly barbecue purposes, or just
it doesn't matter. Look, you get stuck in the weeds too much. Let's just go off the straight up.
No, because there's definitely answers to each thing.
No, there's not. No.
Best chip for a barbecue: original nacho cheese Doritos. Best sandwich chip: nacho cheese Doritos.
So the nacho cheese Doritos is your answer. That's what it is.
That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, if I'm going to eat a chip, it's going to probably be some form and fashion of Dorito.
It's going to be the Cool Ranch Dorito, and that's it.
Cool Ranch?
That's Cool Ranch.
You know, on a turkey, you put the chips on the sandwich, right? You have to put it on the sandwich. It is Cool Ranch. I'll give you that. Any form or fashion of Dorito is good.
Now, the sneaky pick right here is that kettle jalapeno chip.
Jimmy John's. You go to Jimmy John's and you can choose up. It's got to be the kettle cooked jalapeno chips. I would agree.
The heat.
They're pretty good. Undisclosed sleeper pick right here. Funyuns.
No.
Yep.
Great friend of the show.
I will stand by that.
Great friend of the show, Olivia May Garcia, loves Funyuns. Loves them.
I could get along with that. See, me and Olivia.
Leandra likes Funyuns too. I'm like, why? They're not good. They don't taste good at all. Anyway,
this is coming from the dude who likes Miguel's.
Well, Miguel's is the heat too.
It's all right. But anyways, give us your chip take.
Give us your chip take. Give us your chip take. Give me a Coke. How about them boys? How about them Cowboys, Aaron? How about them Cowboys?
I couldn't roll my eyes any harder. Them boys. By the way, Des didn't catch it. So.
Oh my God.
Anyways, Cowboys divisional breakdowns, getting into the NFC East. Dak Prescott, first and foremost, who I want to talk about. You and I both like Dak as fantasy quarterback potential. He's going in the 5th. How long, if at all, do you think it takes him to get back to 100% like game ready, game speed into this season, if at all?
Probably 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. He had a pretty serious injury. Could be later. It's like 6. I don't know. His offensive weapons are so good, though. It's like hard to say, oh man, it's going to be a while before you're going to see premium Dak. He doesn't have to do a lot. Like CeeDee Lamb is a bona fide, maybe number 1. We're going to get into that. Amari Cooper is a bona fide one. Michael Gallup, I mean, I know some people drafted him in the 2nd round last year. Some people are dumb.
That was 100% yes, that is true. Someone drafted Michael Gallup in the 2nd round. I believe that was 100% panic pick.
I don't know what that was. I think he was just high as astronaut, but can't say what I wanted to say.
No. I think it takes him a couple weeks. I think it takes him 2 to 3 weeks to get back to game speed, to shake the rust off. But I do like Dak going into the season.
Why is everybody low on Zeke?
That's what I was just about to ask. Where would you draft Zeke? I think everyone's low on Zeke because he's consistent. He has the good, consistent floor, but his ceiling's not that high. He's never really been a huge, big play type of guy. He's been a
volume.
Yeah, he's been a volume, run it between the tackles, grind it out, get you your 15 to 18 fantasy points a week with 20 to 25 receptions on the year type of guy. Good touchdown potential, but he's never been the guy that he gets the ball at your 35-yard line and takes it for 65-yard touchdown.
I want to ask just a couple what ifs, maybe comparisons you could say. I like these comparisons. I think they shine some light as to where the temperature is on a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, let's start off with Nick Chubb or Zeke. Who you take?
You went straight for that one? Jesus, you couldn't have given some like beach balls to begin with?
Some softballs? No way, man.
I'm going to take Nick Chubb over Zeke, but I wouldn't be mad if you went the other way.
Okay. I'm going to start. We did this last time, too. It's kind of crazy. Aaron Jones or Zeke?
Zeke.
Jonathan Taylor or Zeke?
People are going to give me flack for this, but I'm probably going to take Zeke strictly for the floor. I don't know how Carson Wentz is going to do in the first year in the offense, and Marlon Mack's coming back this year, and you don't just give someone money to not use them. Last
one, but this has a few of them. Let's say Cam.
You're frozen again. Like real frozen. I can't even hear you. I think your laptop shut down.
Hold on just a second, guys. Sorry. The technical difficulties continue.
There's two of me. Yep.
Bam, we're back.
Bam. And we're back good.
Anyways, did you hear what I said or no?
No. You cut out at K, and I think you're going Cam Akers.
I was. So, Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm going to add that one in there because Ruben made a good point. Or Zeke.
Zeke, strictly for, he's going to get the volume, and, he's actually viable with the volume. He actually produces with what the touches that he's given.
I'm probably going to take Zeke in that situation as well, more than likely because I'm probably going to be able to get one of those guys the next round anyway. But just so happened that Zeke fell out of the first round in your draft, which I don't think is like a impossibility.
It's not. And if I wouldn't have been trying to stick to the no zero running back draft strategy, I would have taken him. I would have taken him and Stephon Diggs.
In our last mock draft, yeah.
For the sheer purposes of that draft, I just went with Calvin Ridley.
Important to talk about. I just wanted to see like what your temperature was on Zeke. I'm pretty much the same. I might take Zeke over Chubb. I might.
I'm only taking Chubb over Zeke for the big playability. I think they both have really good floors, but as you've seen last year, Chubb can't take that 60-yard rush to the house. You know what I mean?
I'm really high on Chubb. I'm not gonna. Why am I lying? I'm gonna take Chubb. I'm gonna take Chubb over everybody. Chubb for president. 2025 or 4, whatever it is.
4.
So sure. Another real good question coming into Dallas, and this is something that people are gonna have to really think about because I think CeeDee Lamb is probably being looked at a little too high from what he should be. You're going to take Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb? Who would you rather have?
They're almost going back-to-back in drafts.
Wild. Why?
And if that's the case, I know CeeDee Lamb probably has more upside, but it goes back to, like we talked about on last week's episode, the Mike Evans or Chris Godwin thing. I'm going to take Amari Cooper strictly for he's the known commodity. He's the known number one. He's going to give you, does he disappear occasionally? Yes, but that's been Amari Cooper through his whole career. Mm-hmm. But he's going to give you those number one wide receiver games almost every week, except for maybe like 2 or 3.
I don't understand why CeeDee Lamb is getting the hype that he is. I don't understand. Like, he's good. I'm not saying he's not, and he will be the number one there eventually. But in redraft and in keeper, the hype for him is just insane right now. They're both going at the beginning of the 4th, end of the 3rd, beginning of the 4th. That's where they're floating around at. And if you're telling me that, then you're saying that you're going to take CeeDee Lamb over a Mike Evans. You're going to take CeeDee Lamb over maybe Michael Thomas. Maybe. If he fell that far.
Yeah.
I've seen it in some instances where he does fall that far. That's insane. That's silly. That's being
Uh,
silly.
and I mean, he did it last year with Andy Dalton. Yeah, I get it. He did it
So
at
did
the
Cooper.
begin. He did it. I know he did it at the beginning of the season with Dak too. But everyone needs to remember that Dak Prescott was on a record-setting pace of like 7,000 yards passing in
Yeah.
those first 5 weeks. So
Still like
both of
45
these guys,
touchdowns.
yeah.
Kind of
So
wild.
while I agree with you, both of these guys are going to be good, and CeeDee Lamb is
Mhm.
going to be the number one eventually. I'm high on CeeDee Lamb, but I'm not that high on CeeDee Lamb.
No, but it's
Because
crazy
Michael
because
Gallup is still there, and people forget that, and people think that CeeDee's just gonna bump him out of the way. He's been there for a while. He has rapport with Dak. Like he's still there. He's gonna be there. You know what I mean? And apparently, in
Mhm.
off season and training camp and everything, Michael Gallup had never taken a reception from the slot in any form of game that the Cowboys have played. He's always lined up on the outside number two. In training camp and stuff this year, or OTAs and stuff, he lined up in the slot for the first time ever for the Cowboys. So I do think that they're going to rotate in and out, but they have two really good weapons and one good weapon in the receiving core there.
yeah, and really outside of that, I mean, there's not a whole lot else that I think is really fantasy worthy to talk about on Dallas. They did shore up their defense a lot, and their defense was awful last year. So
Yep.
you're probably going to see a lower. It's not going to be 7,000 yards. I can tell you that for Dak. That's silly.
No.
But you're probably going to see a lower projection from Dak because their defense is going to be so improved. I mean, look at their first 1, 2, 3,
Six.
4, 5, 6 picks. Their first 6 picks, all defense.
Yeah, I covered
They're
this
going
on
to be
the
improved.
NFL draft episode.
Yeah.
And they took Micah Parsons. Sean Lee did retire.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. They took a good cornerback in the second round as well, and Kelvin Joseph. And as you said, their defense was atrocious last year. They did put in work to help their defense. Another thing I want to touch on is their O-line, their offensive line, isn't the offensive line from 3 years ago where they were number one in the NFL and going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Like, their offensive line has taken a downgrade over the last couple years, but they are still good. They're just not the number one offensive line in the NFL anymore. So that is something to remember as well.
Yeah, that's definitely something to take into account. And maybe that's why Zeke, in turn, is where he's at now. I also think, just to kind of like end on the Cowboys here, Tony Pollard isn't going anywhere. He's only going to be more involved. They saw I made this point a while ago, and I think that it was pretty valid. Mike McCarthy loves to use 2 running backs. For whatever reason, he loves using 2 running backs, no matter what, even if it's to spite his own face. And Tony Pollard's pretty good. He's no slouch.
No.
I think that you're going to start seeing a lot more split on that Zeke workload because Tony Pollard is there, which I think could not necessarily hurt Zeke too much. I think he has been a volume guy, but you're starting to see injuries catch up to him. You're starting to see, he was on the injury report, I think, every week last season, or like every other week you'd see Zeke on the injury report as questionable. Now, do I think that, Tony Pollard is probably like a sleeper to go grab? No, he's still a handcuff, but he could be flex worthy. I think that could be his ceiling is flex worthy.
Yeah. Could be.
I don't see any reason why not.
Could be. That wraps it up for me for the Cowboys.
It's all for me too.
This one's probably going to be a little bit of a long one for this team. The New York Giants, the G-Men.
The actual football Giants.
The actual football Giants. Saquon Barkley returns after a season-ending injury. Everyone is starting to drop off on Saquon. He had one outstanding year and then has been injury-riddled. What are your thoughts on the old quads?
He's going to come back and be dominant. I just think that adding Kenny Golladay, while Kenny Golladay is the most mediocre man that's ever existed, is still a lot better than just having Sterling Shepard there and a cast of guys that no one cares about. Kenny Golladay is a bona fide receiver 1, on like half of the teams in the NFL. So adding that weapon along with getting some minor help on their offensive line, they signed a couple guys from free agency. Danny Dimes might take a step. Kadarius Toney's going to help out a lot. I like that. I like that draft pick a lot. Although I think it's a similar kind of archetype as what Sterling Shepard is. Kadarius Toney is probably a better receiver than Sterling Shepard is. I think so. And Sterling Shepard's been hurt a lot. So outside of that, I mean, Saquon's gonna eat. He's going to.
Yeah, sheer volume. I do think that as you talked about, Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney, it helps with keeping the box a little clean. But I'm in a predicament, right? In our keeper league, I have the second overall pick, and then I have another first round at the 7th.
Perfect.
CMC, Kamara, Zeke, and Saquon all go back into the draft pool this year. So obviously, I'm pretty sure Jordan traded for the first round pick because he somehow swindled somebody yet again to get the 101. So I'm pretty sure he's going to take CMC. That leaves me with the decision of, do I run the gamble on Barkley? Do I run the gamble on Kamara? Where am I going to go there? You know what I mean?
I'll tell you my take. And this is a good example because I know that a lot of people are going to be in the situation. If you already have your draft order, now is the time to start planning out. Hey, this is how I would like the draft to fall to me. The perfect draft if I had it. And then kind of go off of that from any other mock draft that you have. Make it imperfect. See things that you could potentially improve through practice, through mock drafts. So I'm probably going to be leaning the Saquon side. I'm probably going to be leaning that side. But, man, do I love Alvin Kamara.
Let's see, I'm in a sticky pickle, right?
It's a tough one, but I'm probably leaning Saquon.
Good thing is I still have a couple months to figure it out, so
I'm probably leaning Saquon. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see. Saquon is definitely going to drop in drafts this year. We've already seen it happening. A lot of people are worried about the injuries. If Daniel Jones could quit fumbling the football and not trip over himself, their offense would be a lot better. He literally gives up at least 1 drive to 2 drives of a scoring drive a game because of some form of fumble or some mistake that he drops fumbles the football, recovers it himself, and then now all of a sudden they're, instead of being 3rd and 6, they're 3rd and 17 and don't convert to have to punt the ball away. You know what I mean? So if he could do that, I think it would help a lot. I thought there might be more to talk about than this, but there's really not.
No. So one thing I'd like to circle back around just to make sure that it's been said, I don't think that Kadarius Toney has a lot of value in a redraft. He has a little more in a keeper, a little bit, but not very much. Maybe late. But
I don't know, man.
In a dynasty, I think that Kadarius Toney could be pretty sneaky grab. You get him in the second round of your rookie draft,
Yeah, I could see that maybe a little bit.
Because they're only going to stick around with Danny Dimes for so much longer. Then they're going to finally upgrade to something that's better than Danny Dimes.
Yeah, you remember when Dwayne Haskins was mad that they took Daniel Jones over him?
Remember when Dwayne Haskins probably isn't going to start again in the NFL? That was right now. That's right now.
Would you rather have Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins starting for you as the Pittsburgh Steelers? I would watch what you say. Neither one are good, but
look, can I just jump
pick
off
from the
bridge?
worst? Pick the worst trash.
Can we just jump out? Let me go just like be a soccer fan or something like that.
Don't hate, bro.
Dwayne Haskins, because you've pointed a gun to my head and I have to.
There you go. Well, you said he'd never start again. He might.
Who's on free agency? Is Josh Dobbs still there? What is he doing? What is Josh Dobbs doing?
Mm-hmm.
Wild. Wild. You want to move on to the football team?
Mm-hmm. You can start it.
All right. So, look, I don't think that anybody here that's listening right now doesn't already know that I'm super high on the football team. Ryan Fitzmagic coming into town is going to be such a breath of fresh air to a team that just hasn't had a quarterback, and I can't remember when. I can't.
Kirk Cousins.
Was he viable when he was there? Was he?
Yeah. For fantasy?
Yeah, I guess. You're right. I guess.
Kirk Cousins.
That's it.
Kirk Cousins got an $88 million deal with the Vikings throwing to, who's he throwing to? Josh Dobson and somebody else? That's my point.
Jeremy Sprinkle?
That's what I'm saying.
No idea. Okay, cool. So that's the last good quarterback
Decent
they had.
quarterback. Don't give him credit. He's decent.
Yeah, let's not do that. Ryan Fitzmagic is an actual good quarterback that they have. You're going to pair that with a budding superstar named Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin, and Antonio Gibson, and I guess J.K. Dobbins because they like to throw the ball to him a lot. But a couple of those three guys.
Wrong team.
Huh?
Wrong team.
Oh, I said J.K. Dobbins. Sorry.
J.D. McKissick.
J.D. McKissick. These abbreviated names. And then you're going to couple that with, a good coaching staff and a really good defense. I'm all in.
I don't think Logan Thomas is going to be as good as everyone thinks he's going to be this year. Last year he had to be used because who did they have as a number 2 wide receiver?
Don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. That is exactly why J.D. McKissick got 110 targets for 80 receptions. They had no one to line up in the number 2. Number 1, Fitzpatrick likes to push the ball down the field. Terry McLaurin is still going to be the number 1. He's going to get peppered with targets. Curtis Samuel now becomes the number 2. Therefore, McKissick is not going to get 110 targets. Logan Thomas is not going to be what everyone thinks he is for that sheer reason. Antonio Gibson is not going to be off the field as much as he was last year. I think McKissick was a product of the Alex Smith at quarterback with the checkdowns, and I think that whereas he got 40-something targets last year, I think he bumps up to the 60 target range this year with probably 40 receptions for Antonio Gibson. So I think McKissick gets whittled out of the offense and isn't as used as he was last year. He's still used, but definitely not repeating the 80 receptions that he had last year.
Where does Curtis Samuel fit into that equation?
What do you mean?
Where does he fit into the 100 and it felt like 5,000 targets that J.D. McKissick got? How many of those targets go to now Curtis Samuel?
I think
I bring this up because
I'm trying to look up the stats for last year. Yeah, I'm trying to look up the stats for last year to see who got what amount of targets.
The reason I bring it up is because they went out and obtained Curtis Samuel's services. He didn't just show up. They went out and got him for a reason because they're going to use him. So maybe Logan Thomas doesn't break out. And those targets the ones that went to J.D. McKissick now go to Curtis Samuel. Does that hurt?
So sorry. Total targets. Terry McLaurin had 134. Logan Thomas had 110. J.D. McKissick had 110. The wide receiver 2 for that team had 48 total targets.
Okay.
Do you see why I'm saying Logan Thomas isn't going to be what you think he's going to be? He's not getting, him and J.D. McKissick are not getting 110 targets apiece this year. That's 220 targets. If Logan Thomas gets 60, that's where I think he'll be on line with, is about 60.
Okay.
That's 50 targets onto the wide receiver 2 to Curtis Samuel. So that's at least 98 right there. J.D. McKissick, I think, doesn't get that. I think he probably gets 4. I think him and Antonio Gibson flip-flop roles. I think he only gets about 40 to 50 this year, whereas Antonio Gibson probably gets 70. That's another 30 targets. I think Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel both are 115 plus target share.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to look it up. That's why it took me so
No,
long.
I understand. I understand where you're coming from. I don't know. I don't know if this is kind of why I think the football team is such an interesting team to talk about. I really do, because you don't know what's going to happen here. Fitzmagic going in there is a complete wild card.
Mhm.
But Curtis Samuel's been out of the backfield as well. I think that's where he gets his targets from, is from J.D. McKissick's. That's where I think his targets really come from. Logan Thomas probably sits around 90 targets. That's pretty good for a tight end. And a more quality target at that, bless you.
Sorry. Thank you.
A more quality target than what he was getting from the likes of, I don't know, Heineke? Is that Tyler Heineke?
Yeah.
Is that that guy?
Yeah.
Alex Smith's last leg?
I don't feel like Logan Thomas is going to get 90 targets. I feel like look at Ryan Fitzpatrick in the offense of Miami with Mike Gesicki, who is a better tight end than Logan Thomas. He didn't target him that much. He's never been known to target the tight end. He's always pushed the ball down the field and threw into tight windows. I do not see Logan Thomas getting 90 targets.
I'm only going to say this just because I think this is important to this conversation, is that if Mike Gesicki was viable on that Miami defense while Ryan Fitzpatrick was the starting quarterback, which he was viable at that time, I think Logan Thomas can fill that same role. Not because they're as good, they're equals, but I think it's because the offense itself is better on the football team than it was in Miami as a whole.
Yeah, I guess, but I just don't think that he's going to be what people think he's going to be. Where they're drafting him at, I don't think he'll return the value. That's what I'm trying to get at in this.
That's going to be a guy you're going to have to stamp your flag on, because I'm not the only person that's high on him. A lot of people are.
I know.
And he's going to go up on ADP simply based on the fact that mindset is going into your drafts, is that he's going to be something.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll stamp my flag on the other side on that one. Just personal. He was out of necessity last year, so that's my personal take on it. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say to that? Their defense is scary good, like you said before.
Can Terry McLaurin be a receiver one? Not the receiver one, a receiver one.
I think so.
How high up do you think that he could finish? Where's his ceiling at?
10.
I think he can get up to the top 6, but that's about as high as he can get. Yeah.
Okay, I say 10.
I think he can.
All right, you ready?
Sure. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it pushing.
Philadelphia Eagles. Dumpster fire as always, like every year. What do you want me to say? Their defense is bad. Their offense is bad. Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback. Everyone's getting pretty high on him. I don't see it. Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith might be okay in never. Best ball,
Not
maybe?
never.
Never this year. Best
Not
ball.
Never this year. Never this year.
I would say he'd be good. I just don't trust Jalen Hurts as a passer.
Shouldn't.
I don't.
You shouldn't.
I watched him all through college too. I don't trust him as a passer. He gives up big turnovers and big time spots. Like spots you don't want to turn over. He's going to try to do something and turn the ball over.
I just want to ask you, why did the Eagles coaching staff bench Jalen Hurts in that last game of the season last year? Why did they do that? Why?
Nobody knows.
Is it because they know that they have a one-trick pony and they didn't want to show that trick out to a lot of people? Probably. Is that why?
Probably. He did it in college too, though. Alabama was a little different because he could pass it, but legitimately, when he looks at his first read and his first read isn't there, he tucks it and runs. He doesn't step up in the pocket. He doesn't move the pocket to get to the open spot to throw the football. He literally will tuck it and run. That's all he does.
The reason I'm saying that is because I don't think there is a legitimate reason why they benched him. And that's got to be it. Because
Maybe they
they already knew what they had.
draft spot.
They knew what they had in the guy behind him. That dude didn't belong on an NFL field. That was the worst play at quarterback that I watched outside of that receiver for Denver coming in. He was the next worst.
You can't even be mad at, what is it, Hamilton?
Yeah, you can't be mad at that guy. But I can't be mad at the guy that was the fourth string for the Eagles last season coming in for Jalen Hurts. Why? Because Jalen Hurts can't play quarterback in the NFL. That's why. But mark it down. You got that piece of paper that I was telling you guys to pull out? Mark that down.
If he could be as efficient as Lamar Jackson was his MVP year, he could be viable because he's got the rushing upside. Rushing upside on a quarterback in fantasy football is always valuable. Even though you don't like him, I don't like him. I don't think he's a good quarterback. The Philadelphia offense as a whole, outside of the year they went to the Super Bowl, has not been good.
I'm not damning Devonta Smith for his whole career. I'm not doing that.
No, not for his whole career.
I would definitely temper expectations and say, like, yeah, he was a Heisman winner, but he was played in college and not against 210-pound corners that are 6'2". He's not playing against that in college. Now he is. It's just he's too small, I think, to be viable long term. He would probably be one of the later rookie receivers that I would take in my dynasty rookie draft.
That's fair. Their defense is bad.
Yes, their defense is awful. They don't have real. I don't really want to rely on Miles Sanders. I'll just say that right now. I don't. Nope. I don't know if Dallas Goedert's going to be really anything because if he was going to be, I understand they had Zach Ertz there, and Zach Ertz has been perennially good throughout his whole career, except for like last season and the season for that. I understand that. But if Dallas Goedert was really that good, if he was really the next big thing, don't you think you would have already seen flashes of it? Don't you think that you would have already seen some sort of inkling to say, like, oh, wait, hold on. Dallas Goedert's going to be the real deal. And I think that he's being drafted. You saw it in our mock draft, the last mock draft. He went way higher than I think either one of us even expected him to go. Yeah. I assumed he was going to go undrafted.
That's fair. But that's also a product of them not having anyone else outside of Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert to throw the ball to.
I mean, you got Devonta Smith now. You got Jalen Reagor. Those are two first-round pick receivers.
Back-to-back years and first-round pick receivers. Yes. Yeah, but Jalen Reagor obviously didn't play hardly at all last year because of an injury. And when I'm not drafting
Jalen Reagor anywhere.
I'm not drafting
nowhere.
Any Eagle.
If Devonta Smith fell to me in the very last round of any fantasy draft, I might take him. Maybe.
Maybe. Anyways, but yeah, I'm staying away from Eagles at all, period. If something happens, I'll try to pick it up on the waiver wire. But
Miles Sanders would have to fall to the fifth, sixth round for me to be comfortable with taking him.
I could see that.
And that's not happening.
Anything else?
No, that's it. That's all I got for the Eagles. Sorry, guys.
Projections? You want me to start?
Go ahead.
I'll start at the bottom, go to the top. Philadelphia, 3-14.
I'm changing mine.
To what?
1-13. I'm sorry, 1-16.
You think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL?
Yes.
You think they're going to be worse than Houston?
Close.
Okay.
Houston at least has a quarterback that can throw the ball with Tyrod Taylor. Or if Deshaun Watson is playing there. I don't know. Go ahead.
The New York Giants. I have them at 7-10.
I got the football Giants there at 6-11.
Okay. And then for me, I have Dallas at 9-8.
Okay. I have Dallas at 11-6. And I'm only saying that because I think they're going to poach some wins from Philadelphia. They're going to poach some wins from the Giants. They probably split with the football team. Their offense is good enough. Their defense will be improved.
I don't have that much faith. I have faith in their players. I don't have that much faith in the coaching staff.
But Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl, man. What are you talking about?
Anyways, and my division winners for me, the Washington football team. I have them at 10-7.
Okay.
They went 7. Was it 7-9 last year?
They didn't break 500.
They won the division with a negative record.
Okay, then it was 7, and I had to have been. Yeah.
They went, and I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is an upgrade at quarterback. I think their defense is still good. They got to upgrade on the offensive side of the ball to actually get a wide receiver too. So I think they win the division at 10-7.
I'm going 9-8, but I do think I am low on them, but I'm not going to change it. I'm going to stick with it. But their offense will be vastly improved from last season. That was the reason why they couldn't win a playoff game right there, because their offense just was not good enough. Todd Heineke wasn't good enough. But now you plug in Ryan Fitzpatrick, you give your best running back the ball more than what you did in the beginning of the season. Terry McLaurin takes another step. You have Curtis Samuel now to take some pressure off of Terry McLaurin. You can one-on-one Curtis Samuel, I guess, but it takes him another weapon away from opposing defenses. Logan Thomas takes a step. I do think they probably finish higher than 9-8. I'm talking myself out of it, and I'm not changing it. I won't. I refuse. 9-8.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see how the season shakes out. Yeah, it's the NFC East. Everyone always jokes about them, so didn't take too much time to get through it. Anything else, Ray, before we end it?
No, sir. That's it.
All right, guys. Well, until next week, we will see you guys later.